Hi, I'm Taylar.
And I'm Raven.
And this is the Laundry Room podcast. We're back. How you doing?
I've been better, but
I
still
feel
doing
like
the thing.
Life is beating our whole ass right now. Really.
Very aggressively.
But you know what? We will remain aggressively positive, and we'll figure it out. We will get through.
Yeah, we have a new studio. Obviously,
we do.
We really think this is a much better setup, so this will probably be what we're going with from here on.
It's just easier to give you guys your information without
absolutely. And it looks a lot
fighting
more,
a couch.
Yeah, it looks a lot less disorganized than us juggling
much better
stuff
quality
on a couch.
too. So shout out to our producer for helping us with that.
Yes. So with that,
in
you wanna
that,
get started?
yes, I will. I have a crazy case today. You ever heard of Edgar Allan Poe?
I feel like he sounds familiar.
There's something about your name that really
I don't know. I wouldn't quote me or anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I definitely would
Great guy.
never quote me anymore.
She's like, I'm done.
Quote the Raven nevermore.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. I love Edgar Allan Poe. I've had multiple versions of all of his poems.
Yeah. Amazing
Road to
writing.
El Dorado, Cask of Amontillado, The Mask of the Red Death is really fucked up.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh god, there's one where he buries one of his enemies alive in the catacombs under Paris or something.
That's
super
wild.
Dude, he's got some really dark stories.
Shit. Yeah. I don't know why that just made me think of him. So weird tangent, number one. Stephen King.
I love it.
He did so much cocaine.
I didn't know that.
You don't notice the nasal cavity?
I've never really seen his face.
Fair enough. But he did so much cocaine that he literally had to stick cotton balls up his nose so it wouldn't drip when he's writing. And also, he doesn't even remember writing Cujo.
Oh shit. Dude.
Yeah.
That one
I was like,
up
what?
As a kid. That one gave me a
That
lot of
movie fucked
irrational
me up.
fear of dogs for a while.
See, and I never was afraid of dogs because of it, but it did resonate with me really hard because dogs could do that,
Same thing with Pet Cemetery. That's super fucked up.
Oh, Baby Gage. R.I.P. And then he comes back and it's
some super dark fucking shit, dude. Mm-hmm. Super dark shit.
But yeah, I don't know why that made me think of that, but I was like, oh, let me tell you.
Yeah. That's savage, though.
Yeah.
God,
as hell. So I want to talk to you about Edgar Allan Poe today. I'm going to go through his life. I'm going to try and speed through that, honestly, because it's not really his life I care about. That sounds so mean. It's his death, though, because it's so shrouded in mystery.
Death is what's interesting.
Yeah, and it's literally a page out of his own books and
Which
stories.
wouldn't have gotten famous until after he died.
So you gotta die to do anything in this world.
That's bad advice.
That's awful. Don't listen to me. That's not aggressively positive. No. That's fucking morbid. But yeah, so I'm gonna kind of essentially blow through his life, give you a good sense of who he was as a honestly awful human being. Yeah. Brilliant mind, awful human being.
You usually are.
Stupid. He's an idiot. But he's smart. I don't know. It's a contradiction. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. On January 19th, 1809, Edgar Allan Poe was born in Boston.
Boston?
Boston. To
hey, yo, Boston.
Get your khakis. Hey, your khakis. But his parents, Elizabeth and David Poe Jr., were actors.
Oh, okay.
Sadly, though, like, I think he was about three. Both his parents had died. Elizabeth had died from tuberculosis. And his dad literally abandoned the family and died of alcoholism.
Fitting.
So, 1800s of it all, you know?
Well, they still do that today.
True. Don't do that. Let's fuck that.
Don't abandon your family.
Yeah. So, obviously, Poe's now an orphan. I couldn't get specifics. It was really hard. Obviously, again, the 1800s of it all. But I couldn't find a definitive answer on what, like, orphanage or anything like that. But he does end up getting taken into foster care. So maybe it was just their house, and that's just how it started from the jump. Right. I don't know. But John and Frances Allen, that is so cute for a girl.
Frances.
You could call her like
Little
Franny.
Frances.
But John and Frances Allen raised him as a foster child in Richmond, Virginia, and eventually adopted him as their own. I think they have like 2 other kids too.
Okay.
So John Allen, for short background, he was a prosperous tobacco exporter.
Oof.
So big money.
Yeah.
And he was able to obviously afford to send Poe to all the best boarding schools and everything like that. Even goes on to pay his college tuition at the University of Virginia. But Poe had a gambling addiction, and John Allen refused to pay those debts.
Well, especially, I wonder if he was giving him money to go pay tuition, and it was all
going
to
gambling. Yeah, that's probably exactly how that went down.
Yeah.
So John Allen was like, "I'm done. I'm not funding you.
I don't blame you.
You're done." And so Poe had to drop out of college, obviously. So after he like drops out and everything, he goes back to Richmond for a short time, and it's really then when like his and John Allen's relationship drastically deteriorated. They hardly ever spoke after this. So I get it, but you know, your dad just wants you to handle your shit.
Yeah, stop wasting your money.
Yeah, come on, dude. He's trying to help you. Help him. So don't do that. Spending other people's money. That's wrong.
That's so wrong. Unless you want to send me your money, and then it's okay.
And then I will spend it, yeah. Give me the credit card. 1827, Poe moves to Boston. And he enlists in the army.
Okay.
The U.S. Army. So it's at that point, too, that he also publishes his first collection of poems. They were called Tamerlane and Other Poems.
Ooh. See, Tamerlane is a creative-ass title. Like,
I
what
like
does
that
even mean?
I know, right? I'm curious. And I definitely should have read more of what he has written. I think the only one I've for sure read is The Raven.
Yeah.
But it was high school.
I have one of his books. I'll let you borrow it.
Bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got all of his best poems in it.
Girlie's a bookworm. I fucking love books.
I used to have a lot of books, but I lost them.
Audiobooks slap too. I like that.
Absolutely.
So I'm able to
so
like clean my house and stuff. But yeah, so he writes Tamerlane and everything like that. 1829, so 2 years later, he publishes his second collection of poems, Al Raf, Tamerlane, and Other Poems. But they yielded no like significant public or critical appraise of any kind and appeal. And so that kind of sucks. That would hurt my heart. I'd be like, all right, sick. Fuck me twice.
How do you not get discouraged?
Yeah, exactly. So he actually, that year too, he gets honorably discharged from the U.S. Army with the rank of regimental sergeant major. I don't know what that means, but good for you, man. What are you? Stupid gnat.
Oh my god, we just got so distracted by a little gnat.
We said, ooh, shiny.
We did. Oh my god.
Just in case you guys didn't know how unwell we are today, that's how unwell.
That is how unwell we are.
So funny. But yeah, so those, no public attention whatsoever. He gets honorably discharged, regimental sergeant major. It's at that point he is admitted to the United States Military Academy at West Point.
Okay.
Couldn't find really what he was doing there.
Right.
Teach their own, I don't give a shit. But because John Allen would no longer, like, pay his
anything.
way
Yeah.
because he kept fucking up, he wasn't able to, like, maintain himself as a cadet, is what they were called, or give, like, the consent necessary to resign from the academy. So rather than, like, trying to talk to his superiors and figure out how to go about this shit, he gets dismissed for, like, ignoring his duties and violating regulations. So just being a fuck ass.
Well, that could, like, violating regulations could be anything. Like, he was refusing to shave his beard within a certain, or his mustache within a certain limits, guess.
Yeah, to, like, dude, just go talk to your superior, figure out how to do this, how to get out in an honorably way.
People like that when I was in the military.
Oh, I believe that.
They joined the military and then hated every single time anybody ever tried to tell them to do anything. And I was like,
why are you here?
Join the military?
Yeah, it's called structure, bitch.
They tell you that from the very get-go, that you have to follow orders. I
couldn't do it. I know
it's actually really easy. Once you get past your ego and you just do what people tell you to do, it's really easy.
I just don't like people telling me what to do. You know? He gets his dismissal for ignoring responsibilities and violating regulations.
Dick ass.
He then moves to New York City and publishes his third collection. Drops his third fucking collect called Poems.
Is this the banger? Oh,
Poems.
This is the banger. Poems by Edgar Allan Poe.
Think about this, okay? We were talking about this and our fucking camera died, so we had to get a new battery and just start all over because it's just easier that way. What were you saying? It's black and white.
It sounds like one of those fucking perfume commercials. Where
that's
it's like,
right.
We got Kate Winslet, like,
yes,
in a silent black and white film that goes on for like 5 minutes, and then it ends with just Poems by Edgar Allan Poe. That was a motherfucking perfume commercial.
That was beautiful. We're gonna get sued somehow for that one.
That's why I like the fucking Super Bowl, because they will play some like long ass commercials, and it'll be a beer commercial.
Bitch, okay, because I know you watch the Super Bowl. Obviously, yeah. We're football girlies. We love that shit, but love it so much. Did you freak out with the commercial that looked like it was like changing the streaming shit?
Yeah, we all did.
Do you remember that?
It pulls up like the TV guide and says, my dad grabbed his remote.
My brother panicked. Yeah. Dova was like, ah! And I was like, I don't know.
My dad literally started to look around like, are we sitting on the remote? What's going on?
That shit pissed everybody off.
That's so funny.
I was so mad. I was like, what the fuck? Did we just miss like fucking 5 minutes of the game trying to get
That's so
everything
funny.
back up? Like, what happened?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
They have some creative ass commercials, but some of them are just like super ridiculous for like a beer commercial or a car commercial.
I feel like the commercials are usually like especially when I was a kid, the commercials were my favorite part.
The commercials are still.
Do you remember
like
the iconic Britney Spears, Beyonce, Pink, and who else was it? I think one other pop star, Christina Aguilera, probably. And they did that Pepsi commercial, and they're like gladiators in the Coliseum.
Yeah.
Iconic!
That is funny.
I think of that often. Nothing's been right since that hasn't been a thing. So yeah, so he publishes Poems by Edgar Allan Poe. And that was, I believe, like 1831.
Damn.
Then he moves to Baltimore.
Baltimore,
Maryland. Where he ends up living with his Aunt Maria and her daughter Virginia.
Okay.
He starts like selling short stories to magazines and shit, just trying to get his name out there, you know.
Doing whatever he
wants to do what he wants to do. I mean, hey, you gave up on everything else in your life. At least you stuck to something.
Right.
There was some sense of consistency.
Right.
So, in 1835, he becomes the editor of the Southern Literary. I can never say that without sounding stupid. Literary. See, even literary. In the library. But yeah, so that literary messenger. And see, if I say it really fast and I sound fine, but if I say it slow, I sound stupid. That's in Richmond, though. He goes back to Richmond, Virginia. Bro's bouncing around. So they had ended up moving back to Richmond, him, his aunt, and Virginia, his cousin. It's honestly, though, at this point where, like, Buddy gets real problematic.
Because he's 26 at this point.
26.
So he's still pretty early, pretty young, but not
at the age of 26. Poe marries his 13-year-old cousin, Virginia. She was 13.
No.
And why the fuck? I understand, again, it's the 1800s of it all, but that's typically when it happened.
Been established as not being okay.
That's your cousin.
Yeah.
Why did Maria Clem allow that? I'd be like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like,
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what would ever pop into somebody's head like that.
Keeping the bloodline pure, I guess.
No, that's
so fucking gross.
Wrong. You're doing the opposite.
I'm fucking judging. I'm judging.
Oh, I'm a judge all day long.
But yeah, so over the next 10 years, he goes on to edit like a number of literary journals in Burton Gentleman's magazine, Graham's magazine. That one's in Philly. And then the Broadway Journal in New York City.
Okay.
It was during those years that he really like solidifies himself as a poet, short story writer, and editor. You know, he's got the 3 double whammy. So some of his best known works obviously are The Fall of the House of the Usher, The Telltale Heart, and The Murders in the Rue Morgue, and of course The Raven. Sadly, it was like 1847, poor Virginia, she dies of tuberculosis. And so obviously after her death, Poe's like lifelong struggle with depression and alcoholism, it just spirals. Festers. Yeah, it's bad. In 1849, he goes back to Richmond for whatever reason stops off in Boston in late September. So he's doing things. October 3rd, this is where shit hits the fucking fan. October 3rd is when he is found in a state of semi-unconsciousness. He's disheveled. He's soiled himself. He's drunk. He's not making any fucking sense. He's wearing, like, shabby secondhand clothes that didn't belong to him. And you could just tell something had happened. And he was found, like, in the gutter of a bar. I'm so sorry. Let me back up. So he had been at a bar some, like, 3-4, couple days prior. That was his last, like, sighting, I'm pretty sure. And then he just, like, pops up.
Just outside.
Yeah. And that was Lombard Street. 4 days later, at the age of 40, without ever having been able to regain consciousness, or at least enough strength to speak and make sense, he dies. And we still don't know what happened in that weird little gap of time. the last days of his life, he was battling fits of delirium accompanied by visual hallucinations. And we'll get into a couple of the theories in a little bit. But there's honestly a couple different ones that those symptoms obviously could fall into, you know. According to Dr. J. Moran, Poe repeatedly called for Reynolds, which is someone who is still a mystery today. We don't know who the fuck Reynolds is. Is that who you were with? Like, were you with a Reynolds? Like, who the fuck is that?
Right.
You know? So, we still don't know to this day, but there are some, like, what do I want to call them? Medical evidence, I should say, that showed maybe Poe died from rabies.
Interesting.
Yeah. I got off in a massive, like, rabbit hole again. What? It's me. Well, I do that.
But the first one was good. It was Charlie Hunnam. This one is
This one I was like, well, what happens with rabies? Bitch, it's like a 7-step fucking death. Yeah, like, you literally lose really your fucking mind. It's awful. I was like, fuck that. No. On his death certificate, his cause of death was acute congestion of the brain, so swelling of the brain.
Okay.
Let's back up a little bit. The day that he's found in the gutter, right? Joseph W. Walker, he was a compositor, actually, for the Baltimore Sun newspaper at the time. And it was Election Day on October 3rd. And so he was heading to the, like, pop-up polls, you know? Towards, like, I think it was, like, Gunners Hall. And that's where he had stumbled upon Edgar and was like,
yo,
you good?
You had a rough night?
Yeah, obviously he was not. And so, sweet Mr. Joseph Walker, he's like, okay, do you have, like, anyone I can, like, write to inform them of your distress? Yeah. Like, you're not okay. Like, we need someone to help you, essentially. And so Poe gives him the name of a Dr. Joseph E. Snodgrass.
Snodgrass?
He's a magazine editor with, like, some medical training.
Oh, okay.
And so Walker writes Snodgrass a letter asking for help, and it reads, Baltimore City, October 3rd, 1849. Dear Sir, there is a gentleman, rather the worse for wear, at Ryan's 4th Ward polls, who goes under the name, goes under the name, okay, of Edgar A. Poe, and who appears in great distress, and he says he is acquainted with you. He is in need of immediate assistance. Yours, in haste, Joseph W. Walker, to Dr. J.E. Snodgrass.
At least he made a point to be like, hey, I'm sending this to you urgently. I didn't just dick around.
He's very fucking unwell. Yeah. Help him.
Shit.
But yeah, so again, his death is still a massive mystery. Like, we really don't know. But I wanted to kind of go over some of the theories. And you tell me what you think. We can kind of rap about it and see. So the first one is a beating. They think that maybe because of, the brain swelling.
Drunken bar fight or something.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
You never know. They also think that he maybe had been robbed as well. Especially because of the clothing situation.
They took his clothes, and maybe he just happened to find some spare clothes to put on. And then...
So, I don't know. Another one that I think has a little validity. Okay. Sorry. I fucking had to buffer again, I guess. I don't know what the hell's going on. So it's called cooping.
Oh, yeah.
So cooping is basically, it's a method that was practiced by the gangs in the 19th century to commit voter fraud.
Yeah.
And they would basically kidnap you, disguise you, and force you to vote for, like, specific candidates multiple times under different names and shit. So they think maybe...
That's a possibility.
I was like, that kind of makes sense, you know? And especially because, like, when he was found, he, like, shit was fucked up. Like, he was clearly in distress. Makes a lot of sense that maybe they, like, drugged him or beat the fuck out of him. Yeah. You know? And that combined with, like,
and
again, the 1800s.
Could have been one of the names they were forcing him to vote under.
Yes. Yes. See? Third one would be alcohol. They think maybe he, like, just went on a fucking bender. Yeah. And just sent her a little too hard there. Another one is carbon monoxide poisoning. I don't really agree with this. It's because
other people would have been suffering from that too if he was exposed to some.
Well, and I think it was from, like, coal gas that was used to, like, light, like, indoor lighting in the 19th century. Yeah, so I feel
like if it was in the bar, then everybody in that bar would have been affected by that.
Yeah, but at the same time, too, it's been largely, like, discredited because basically carbon monoxide's a heavy metal. And they found it, they tested his hair.
Oh, yeah.
And they found it in his hair, and it's like, okay, well, one, your hair's automatically going to do that. You're always going to test for heavy metals in your hair.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean that he was poisoned.
Yeah.
So, I call massive bullshit on it, too.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5, again, to piggyback off of the last one, heavy metal poisoning. They did find elevated levels of mercury in Poe's system months before his death. Yeah, it was, like, within months of his death, so they think maybe it was from, like, the cholera outbreak during that time. So, I don't know. 6 would be rabies.
Yep. Yeah.
But, I mean, again, that one does... It is rational.
They would have probably noticed an animal bite or something on his body.
Right?
Unless he was like... But I highly doubt that in the 1800s they were able to... I don't think they'd have rabies in an injection.
Yeah.
Like, interesting. So, there's literally, like, they have no idea. It could be anything.
There's so many,
He could have died from anything. He could have just died from dying.
Yeah. Another one is, like, a brain tumor. Again,
how do
symptoms.
You know?
That makes sense.
Did they cut his brain out and look at it?
Well, baby, he died in the late 1800s. By the time we can fucking look at it, we don't know.
Their medicine doesn't... They didn't have shit for medicine back then.
Another one is the flu. Obviously, the flu was slapping. Again,
they didn't have any medicine for it. Once again, another thing that gets easily treated with, like, antibiotics.
Yeah. Another one is murder. Obviously.
Murder?
But sorry, that was aggressive.
Consider, like, everything, like... If they cooped him and he died because they were cooping him, wouldn't that still be murder?
Right. I still, like, I'm very much so open
That's like
to almost all of these, except for the heavy metal shit.
Yeah. I mean, he probably wasn't that big of a headbanger. Yeah,
probably not.
Dad.
He's like, put on Mozart.
Put on
Mozart. But yeah, those are essentially all the theories. Overall, we have no fucking idea, and I don't know if we'll ever be able to figure it out.
At this point, the longer we go away from his death, the less likely we are to get any kind of definitive answer.
But, I mean, also at the same time, like, you never know with, like, forensic technology.
True.
Just constantly popping the fuck off.
I've watched Bones. They've done some crazy shit in that show.
Forensic Foes and Webbers.
That's totally like an actual real show and not just a drama TV show.
Which one are you talking about? Bones?
Oh,
that is the crazy life and death of
I've always loved him. Like, I always really liked his writing.
He's a shitbag of a human being.
He's a terrible person.
But he does have a beautiful creative mind.
I've always loved his writing.
Yeah.
Edgar Allan Poe was hands down one of the first poems I think I've ever read, and it stuck with me my entire life.
Yeah. Yep.
Obviously.
His work was phenomenal.
Yes.
But everything else he did was trash.
The opposite.
You, sir?
You fucking
trash. Pervert. Yeah. I was like, ew. Come on.
I mean,
why?
He probably got what he deserved, honestly, but that's still just so crazy that we'll probably never know.
Like, it is up for debate. So, you guys let us know what you
what are your theories?
I'm leaning towards the cooping and murder.
That's the most likely. He got...
It makes the most sense.
Wearing a different, clothes that were too big for him, yelling out some random name.
And then, boom, days later.
Disappeared for 4 days where they were probably moving him all over the place, making him vote at every different... That's so crazy to think about.
I don't know.
Thank you for sharing that with me.
Thank you for listening. That was fun. I never knew all that about him. I was like, I don't know shit about fuck. I just know he wrote The Raven.
Right. He's got a lot of good work. I'll bring my book of his stuff over and let you borrow it.
Well, for some reason too, I kind of thought he was alive a lot earlier than the 1800s.
Right.
For some reason, I was thinking 16, 17. Yeah. I didn't even think, no, bitch,
Once again, what do we fucking know about history or time?
We don't. We're learning. And we're learning with you.
Yeah.
So.
But, with that being said.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow us on social media. We have, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, TikTok. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think that's it for
that sounds
now.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think that's it.
Instagram?
We do have an Instagram as well. And then our Gmail, the Laundry Room of Podcast at gmail.com. Send in your short stories, personal tales, episode ideas.
Fan art.
Yeah.
Anything.
Come hang out with us. We're fun. Yeah. So, with that being said, I think that's about it.
That sounds good to me.
All right.
Bye.
Peace. I tell myself what to do, and that is more than good enough for me.
I'm not even good at that. I argue with myself too much.
Same. I'm just intrusive thoughts. Both sides of the shoulder. It's not an A.
Devils.
Yeah, they're just devils. I don't know. The angel guy is up here. He's just sitting up here, and he's just smacking me in the face with his feet.
Thank God it's his feet. I thought you were gonna say something else.
He's just dangling them.
Oh my God.
What am I doing? Anyway.
I don't know.
Anywho.
Right then, we just put a buffer.
That's right. Okay.
Buffer circle on your forehead.
Girl. Yep. We'll do it for sure. I was just but they were in Baltimore. I was always a CSI, Forensic Files, and New Detectives girly.
My mom was
Unsolved
into the Forensic
Mysteries.
Files. We watched Unsolved Mysteries. So did you know why he started the Unsolved Mysteries?
No. Who, William Shatner?
No, it wasn't William Shatner, was it?
I thought so.
Or am I thinking
wrong?
of... Maybe I'm thinking of America's Most Wanted.
Oh, yeah, because his son was,
kidnapped
and killed.
And decapitated, yeah.
Fucked.
Yeah.
But the sister came out and said that didn't fucking happen.
Really?
I gotta show you. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll dabble on it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that, allegedly.
Yeah, fucking allegedly. But, yeah, she said that was bullshit. I don't know. She, has been popping off on TikTok.
I didn't see that.
Talking about it, yeah.
I didn't see that.
I know, because you fucking uninstalled TikTok, and I've sent you, a million videos, and you haven't watched any. But I say that, and I know my brother is immediately gonna hop on here. And a couple of my friends...
the last time you checked my Instagram messages?
That, and then my TikTok...
He's the same way. He sends you a bunch of videos and you don't watch them.
Oh, him and a bunch of my friends, they'll just drop that shit. But I, like, wait for them to build up so I can just doom scroll all day. But that's also, like, not...
That's not healthy.
Not the best use of my time. I'm really bad about that.